Here we go again. Another soft weapon video. No, not this one. This video is about how to get to your desired enhancement rate of your soft weapon for as cheaply as possible, as well as which fail stack you should be using. Since I already worked with the numbers and all, and my head pretty much exploded while trying to figure out those numbers, I didn't bother to include any basic knowledge one should have on how to get the soft weapons and the requirements for it. For that, I can recommend you checking out one of the many videos out there on YouTube that cover those things. Here are two videos that cover those topics in depth, and I can recommend you checking them out if you are not familiar with the basics yet. But if you are informed already and you are looking to prepare yourself for the high enhancement levels of the soft weapons, especially if you are looking at Sept and beyond that, then you should pay attention to this video. One of those players would be my guildmate Columpi, a veteran player from EU who's the owner of the infamous Gosu title for the Zerker class, the recent winner of the Dosa tournament in EU, as well as most certainly many other impressive accomplishments in the game that I just simply don't know about. In a very detailed Discord PM, he asked me for advice to be prepared for the soft weapon release. And along my recently 10-hour long Twitch stream, in which I did most of the math behind this video together with my Twitch chat, he was clicking for those stacks that he needed for his personal goals on the soft weapons. And despite some minor setbacks, he managed to achieve them with much less effort and silver cost than he probably expected. Basically, we start on zero in some Excel spreadsheet. To save us all some time, I'm just gonna summarize the basics of my sheet here and briefly explain stuff so we don't get lost in the numbers. First, I broke down all the numbers we got with the official release on Korea so I can use them for further calculations, ending up with this. Each line here represents one of the 10 enhancement levels on the weapon. Further, you can see some example fail stacks that also include the recommended fail stack usage by PA. These chances you can easily calculate by using the base chance as well as the chance you gain for each single fail stack. Nothing big for now, but we need those numbers later on. After some minor layout changes, I actually started to prepare space for the silver cost calculation for an average success. And yes, average is important because you shouldn't expect to be unlucky or lucky in your enhancements, unless of course you use the streamer client. So taking PA's suggested 75 fail stack, we would have 2.86 average clicks as well as a cost of 1.362 billion silver. This silver cost is calculated by the amount of blackstones one has to use, assuming at that current time one could get them in Korea for 400 million silver on average. Here I can already say the more days pass in Korea, the more information we get related to the soft weapons. And despite our all concerns of the weapons being time-gated, it seems like the reason for that, the blackstones, are actually fairly easy to obtain and much cheaper as well, meaning my calculations of 400 million silver for each blackstone is already outdated. Nice. Also, you should check out Huyot's stream. Thanks to him, EU peasants like me stay up to date with little to no effort at all. Anyway, luckily for us, this is an Excel sheet, so all I have to do is change one value to update all of it. But because I'm using clips from my stream as material for this video, we keep the cost at 400 million for now. Later we go over the sheet again with the updated prices of all the materials, so don't worry. One more thing regarding the silver cost. The value of my fail stacks is calculated separately. I will go over that later in the video. For now, you just have to trust those numbers. Some more layout changes being done now, but more importantly, did you notice something was missing? You should have, because I somehow forgot about the prior enhancement level. I fixed that now here as well and put silver value to it. Now nothing too important up to this point, you should still be able to follow all of this. Only thing added with this is another line for the cronstone calculation. I save us all some time and speeded things up. New to this point is another line calculating a raw click without cronstone protection. The cronstone calculation line now having numbers in it as well as a line calculating the price with the cronstone protection, using 3 million as a set value for the cronstones. Further, we added a cell to tell us the lowest value between the clicks done with and without cronstones, so we can quickly see the cost of that enhancement level. Jumping ahead again, we put numbers for try and TED enhancement levels now. Looking at try, one can see the cronstone clicks are already cheaper than raw clicks to a small degree, showing roughly 8.6 billion silver as the cheapest option when using a 130 failstack. Looking at TED, we can see the raw clicking isn't worth at all anymore. Our sheet tells us 21.7 silver on a 140 failstack, while using cronstones will be the cheapest option. Now a thing I should mention, while I said I will go over my failstack values later in the video, I can already say now that it does not value the time spent clicking during the failstacking process. What I usually do for myself is use the experience I have from failstacking to estimate how much time it takes me on average to get a desired failstack. After that, all I do is pretend my time has a value of X, considering I could instead spend it grinding. Now, as you can see, this is pretty unique calculation and it's player specific, so I don't include it. This still matters though, because in the case of this TED price telling us our lowest value, you can see that there is a trend from the 90 failstack on the left towards the 140 failstacks on the right. The average price kept on dropping. But because the drop is pretty insignificant in the end, to be exact 994 million, I didn't bother extending the failstack range by more, knowing damn well the inconvenience behind pushing the stack beyond 140 failstack. With this all being explained now, we should know most of the relevant stuff in the sheet up to the oct enhancement level. Alright, now we are live in the sheet. Outside of putting values to pen, hex, sept and oct, which are now pretty much self-explainable, you didn't miss much. All I did is change the naming for each enhancement level in this sheet, so for the pen enhancement level it says +4 instead of +5 soft weapon now. Now before I go into more numbers, let me show you my recommended failstacking method first. Looking at this long list, we basically only care about the green numbers, since we won't really go beyond 300 failstack anyway for enhancement levels up to the oct level. Taking the start out of the list as an example, starting on a 25 failstack extract and adding our +3 permanent enhancement rate to it, as well as doing a single dual reblood click on it, we end up on a 31 failstack that cost us around 8 million silver so far. Following the clicking method on the left side, we for example receive a 49 failstack for 39 million silver, a 79 failstack for 224 million silver, a 177 failstack for 2.7 billion silver, and finally towards the end, when putting devours on a 201 failstack we made, a 303 failstack for 34.4 billion silver. Keep in mind Valkscry are not added anywhere here. If you would want to make a 190 failstack, you are aiming for a 177 failstack for 2.7 billion silver and add your Valkscry to it after, adding another 85 million silver cost. Now this isn't hard to understand, I would say, but I would still like to mention that there's a good reason why we are looking at rebirth clicks only. Previously I liked to add black stars as well into my failstacking, but since the price top on most of them and also for the sake of being done faster with our desired failstacks, we stick to rebirth for this one. When clicking TED reblood between 49 and 94 failstacks, expect a lot of successes, especially on the likes of a 84, 89 or 94 failstack. It might be tilting to lose those stacks, but it's worth it. Especially considering we need every single TED reblood for the long push between 99 failstacks and 201 failstack. Alright, that is everything failstacking related you should know if you only plan on going up to oct and use a maximum of 300 failstacks plus Valks. For everything beyond that, failstacking wise, which we might need for NOV or DEC, we go back for that later in the video, since most people watching this video probably won't care for that. Okay, back to our old sheet. I did some minor layout changes and extended the failstack range a little bit on certain enhancement levels. After putting some helping numbers to tell us the exact difference between each failstack step, here shown as green numbers, we now can see what is and what isn't worth it to make when keeping in mind the time spending when we click on reblood. As previously mentioned, valuing time when clicking reblood is something that comes from experience, so you kind of have to trust me on this one, or if you have experience yourself, make your own conclusion for this. But before we look at these numbers, we should probably fix the value of our enhancement stones, since they are still on 400 million currently. While I changed that value to a lousy 95 million silver, Let me just do a quick shout out to PA for developing this perfectly designed content and only taking ages for doing it. Now that our stone value is changed, it had a significant impact on our sheet. Let's look at the green numbers again, starting with the prior enhancement level. As you can see, not much to say here since every number is negative, which means the most efficient method would be to click on a 50 fail stack. So going straight to duo, it gets a bit more interesting already, showing positive numbers up to 95 fail stack for raw clicking the pry weapon. Cron clicking is a significantly higher value, so we don't even consider it here. For our lovely players from NA, Korea or C that have access to market crons, I will change the value to market crons later, so don't worry. Alright, so if I consider my time as a hidden silver value as well, I personally would probably go for the 85 fail stack here, since I don't think the extra time clicking for a higher fail stack would be justified for 45 million silver. That doesn't mean using a 75 or 95 fail stack would be bad. We are just looking at very small numbers yet that it doesn't really matter too much yet. Moving over to the try enhancement level, the difference in numbers is more noticeable now, meaning it also matters a bit more which fail stack we use. Everything beyond 120 fail stack is already irrelevant for us since the numbers show a negative value. Personally, I would pick the 110 fail stack here after considering my time again. Also, we are still looking at raw clicking here because now that the enhancement stones lost so much in value and are clearly not a bottleneck resource anymore, using cron protection wouldn't be worth it for the additional cost it takes. Going over to TED next, you can see I prepared a long range of fail stacks on this one. Remember how PA suggested us to use a 100 fail stack for this one? Yeah, well, I would think twice about that if I would be you. Because after quickly seeing that cron stone clicks are the way to go for this one and raw clicking is out of the question from now on, we can see us saving quite a good amount of silver on increasing our fail stack beyond 100. Now, besides the number being decently high, I can tell you from personal experience that it is also more time consuming when clicking on these higher fail stacks. So personally, I would pick something around the range of 160 to 170 for this one. Next up, we are looking at pen. Here it's pretty easy for me to pick a fail stack. I would go for a 214 fail stack without hesitation. And that is also easy to explain. In our fail stacking method, we are clicking up to 201 fail stack with reblood, resulting in a 214 fail stack after we put Vikes on it. As you can see from the numbers here, going up to 210 fail stack, we are saving more than 1 billion silver for every 10 fail stacks gained. Since this sheet only shows steps of 10 fail stacks, we can't see the 214 fail stack. But if we would break down the step between 210 and 220, we would get a small positive number for the stacks up to 214, and a negative number for the stacks beyond 214. That is because we decided to put devours from here on, which are significantly more expensive than clicking reblood, which one can also see when looking at the step from 220 fail stack to 230 fail stack. Now you might ask yourself why we don't continue using reblood instead of using the more expensive method of using devours. That is because I get lazy beyond 200 fail stack. I know it's cheaper to use reblood, but the frustration I get personally when actually succeeding on a penned reblood on a 200 plus fail stack is big enough for me to rather look at the guaranteed way that costs me 0 time. That's why I decide to put devours on my stacks beyond 200. Next up will be hex. A decision this time is easy to make. Since we are using devours from now on, since all of our stacks from here on will go beyond 214 fail stacks, and because using devours is a guaranteed method that costs us basically 0 extra time, all we have to do is look at when our indicator number goes negative. At 250 fail stack it becomes negative. This means our fail stack will be 240 or slightly above that. So for now we stick with the 240 on this one and move straight to sept. Again, just like hex, we look when the number becomes negative. The silver saved from going from 280 to 290 fail stack is a small amount of 76 million silver. But unless you want to pretend to value your time buying some extra devours from the marketplace and slapping them on your fail stack within a minute or two, we take those extra 76 million silver. So 290 fail stack is the choice for sept. Going over to the one people probably care the most about since it has the last glow effect on it, the Oct enhancement level. For the sake of keeping most of you guys safe from what we will do beyond 316 fail stacks, I would max out my devours and stop at 316. Now doing a quick overview for all the numbers up to this point, We can see that people that will be using Vendoctrons are going to save a large amount of silver compared to using PA's suggested failstacks. Now next up, I'm going to change up the material cost here and there to simulate the numbers for players that do not play on the EU server. Okay, I think up to the Oct level, you guys are now fully prepared and we can dive right into NOV and DEC. But before we do so, let me already say I have a very biased opinion about them and I don't expect many people to agree with the stuff that I'm about to say. Nonetheless, as a player that has his own view on things in the game, I'm gonna proclaim my opinion anyway. Alright, let's take a peek on NOV for now. What we can notice is that it's hella worth it to raise our failstack beyond the suggested 300 failstack. I'm a big fan of that. In my opinion, failstacking should be rewarded for an endgame item like a NOV soft weapon, especially considering the methods we are about to use to get those high failstacks. Because now that we reach NOV and need to go beyond our current max failstack of 316 and our devour method has become useless from here on, we now go over to Pen Blackstar raw clicks. And not just any Pen Blackstars, we are looking at main hands and awakening specifically here, because they currently tanked very hard in price on the TED enhancement level, making them a very attractive alternative to Pen Reblath Gamba clicks on failstacks this high. The idea is to buy cheap TED Blackstars from the market and we raw click them on our 303 failstack. We don't want to enhance the TEDs ourselves, because the enhancing from Try to TED alone is very expensive and we are much better off with our time to buy the TED. Now if you Valk or don't Valk the stack before the Blackstar clicks is up to you to decide. If you really just want to get the stacks, I suggest to not put Valks up to the very end. After we hopefully failed our click, we sell the Try Blackstars on the market. Now here's the tricky part on it. While I can suggest the method to you guys, I haven't done it myself for long enough to say it's a flawless method. While I managed to already make my failstacks successfully with basically zero effort despite the initial silver investment into the TED Blackstars, I also kind of greeded on getting rid of my Try Blackstars for a better price. But since I sit on them, the price has only been dropping. Now I have been listing them on the market more recently now, but I can't say yet how well you can get rid of them. Worst case, expect to sit on them for a week or two before selling them for a decent price. Back to the method and considering us succeeding on a Pen Blackstar, we obviously want to get rid of the Pen Blackstar on the marketplace, or maybe even use them for our future soft weapons. As we go higher and higher on our failstack, we can see the average price of our failstack is going up by a lot with every +6 failstack we get. That is only logical because the risk of losing our stack value, even if it's a very small one, starts to outvalue the return silver we would get from selling our Pen Blackstar. Now sadly, there's not really any other option we can use despite the Blackstar method. Items like Godeye or even soft weapons themselves are not a valid alternative. But that's enough for now about this failstacking method. Let's look at the numbers of the NOV instead again. As already mentioned, we want to start going beyond the 316 failstack. Our indicator number is showing us multiple billions we can save for just raising our failstack by 10 between each step up to 319 failstack. I have just finished my NOV stacks myself, so I can speak from experience here again and say I might have gone a little bit overboard myself. Because despite thinking 370 failstack is the one I thought is the best because it does save us another 4 billion silver compared to using a 360 failstack, I did end up using multiple hours failstacking to achieve my stacks in the end. So I would actually say going to 370 failstack is not worth it for this one, and instead pick 360 or even 350 failstack for this one, considering the effort it takes to make the stack. If you pick 350, 360 or even 370 failstack like me in the end is up to you. They all are good options in my opinion. With NOV out of the way now, we can finally go to the deck enhancement level. And let me already tell you, this one blows my mind. As you can see, I prepared a long range of failstacks for this one. And I did this on purpose. Because as you can see, it's only worth it to increase our failstack to around 440 failstack. As an owner of a 516 failstack, this kind of is a punch into my face. Last time I checked, soft weapons were supposed to be equivalent to the Fallen God armors, but with 10 enhancement levels instead of 5. I was looking forward to those weapons for quite some time. So when they announced them on the Hideable this year and provided a little sneak peek for the weapons in form of screenshots, I immediately started to theory craft the difficulty of getting each level, ending up with this very messy overview. To make this a little bit better to understand, I drew this red line to show what was given and what was assumed at that time. Above the red line is a bunch of information that were facts at that given time. For example, the petty amount of the soft weapons that one could see from the screenshots that PA leaked on the Hideable. Pitties and cronstones for 400 armors, as well as efficient failstack usage on 400 armors in the current game. From those informations, I started making reasonable theories about what kind of failstacks, percent chance, average clicks and cronstones one has to use per soft weapon enhancement level. Funnily enough, those are really accurate for everything up to the Oct enhancement level. But as soon as you start comparing those numbers with the now actual numbers on enhancement levels beyond Oct, so NOV and DEC, you start to notice that it was off by a lot. Now here's the part in which I would start showing my frustration in a very detailed TED talk of why I'm not a fan of this, but despite writing most of the script for it, I noticed I should maybe leave it out of this video and keep the frustration talk for my Twitch streams. Let me just mention, I'm scared this item will not be as unique and rare as I hope for it to be. But things are the way they are now, so let's look at what kind of failstack we should prepare for the DEC soft weapon. As one can see, increasing our failstack rewards us a lot on this one, until we reach 450 failstack and go into negative numbers. Let me again mention that those indicator numbers show the amount of silver saved between the chosen failstack and the previous failstack. So basically the silver saved on increasing our stack by only 10 stacks. So it is out of the question that we want to go beyond 300 failstack on this one, since we can save dozens of billions of silver here. Now I haven't made a failstack myself for DEC yet, because my plan would be to use the NOV stacks that I made and equally click them up going from Oct to NOV on my soft main hand and Awakening, blowing 2 of the 4 stacks on the way as well as having 2 remaining high failstacks. Probably around 390 to 400 failstack if I hit average luck on the NOV enhancements. Now it would be worth it to increase the stack even further, but at the moment that is my plan for the DEC enhancement level. But considering the weapons are probably another 2 to 3 months away from being released in the EU, I might work on getting my DEC failstacks even higher to around 400, 410 or even 420 failstack, considering that would save me another 18 to 44 billion silver in total. So as of now, the DEC weapon on a 390 failstack would cost me around 1.3 trillion silver, most of that silver coming from 400,000 cronstones that I will purchase from the vendor. To finish off this video, let's go one last time over the different values from each server and the impact it will have on the NOV and DEC enhancement level. With all of this being covered now, if you guys happen to like this video or thought it was helpful to you, please consider leaving a like on it or even subscribe to the channel. Also, don't forget to follow me on Twitch so you won't miss out on the big enhancement stream as soon as the soft weapons get released on EU. Because after I saw the price tag on them, everything under double DEC is a no-go for me. So be prepared for a good enhancement stream. Worst case, you probably can find it on YouTube at a later day. Have a good one and I see you guys another time.